Okay, welcome. Welcome to Ease Pain and Stiffness, the pool noodle edition. We're going to use pool noodles or a pool noodle. You just need one. I have two because there's different pool noodles, different sizes of pool noodles, and different body types need different sizes. So I'll discuss that just a little bit. And then I have a soft ball here. So using a soft tool to relieve pain and stiffness is much more effective than using a firm tool. Just the other day, I had a client who was in here for physical therapy, and I showed her a few techniques using this soft ball. This is a melt ball. You can also use an OPTP mini ball for many different techniques, works wonderfully. And so I showed her a few things to help her with her neck pain. And she looked at me after we did it and she said, I feel so much better. She's like, why is everybody telling me to use a lacrosse ball? Well, she was an athlete at a university, a Division I university, and she had always used a lacrosse ball or a tennis ball. Nobody had ever told her about using a soft ball. She said, I'm never going back. I'm never going back. I'm going to use these soft tools from now on because she found it was so effective. And I'm the same way. I played soccer in college. I've been an athlete all my life. I currently surf regularly and I'm very active. And the way I'm able to stay active is by using soft tools to relieve pain and stiffness that just results from working out. Because if you work out, then you're going to have some stiffness that develops from that. And if you play sports, you're going to have little dings, little things that happen, and you're going to need a way to reset your body. So I'm aware that there's a lot of people right now who are struggling financially, and maybe they've lost their job, or maybe they're just very concerned about money. Maybe their business is in jeopardy because of everything that's been going on. So I wanted to teach this class today and also a class on Saturday at noon that anyone could do the techniques because anybody can find a pool noodle. You can look at Walmart, Target, the grocery stores are selling them right now. It's not expensive, and maybe you already have one. And anybody could find a ball. Any old ball will work, but ideally a soft one. So a mini ball made by OPTP is fairly reasonably priced. You can get it on Amazon. You get a pack of two. And then, the other thing that you could do is you could consider a tennis ball, lacrosse ball, and also like a bouncy ball set will give you some different variations of types of balls that you could use. Welcome, Lisa. Hey. So today I'm doing a special edition. I was just explaining it to people on social media. I'm doing a special edition of the Ease Pain and Stiffness class. We're using pool noodle. One, you can, if you have one, we're going to use a pool noodle. And we're going to use a soft ball or whatever ball you have. And if you don't have a pool noodle, but you do have a foam roller or a melt soft body roller, you can use that. But even if you have the melt soft body roller and you happen to have a pool noodle, I'm going to suggest you actually do the routine with me today with a pool noodle if you can. Because sometimes when I'm traveling, I will take a pool noodle with me and I'll just put it in my carry on like this. And I can do all kinds of things with this pool noodle to refresh my body from the trip and to keep my body feeling good if I'm on a surf trip or if I'm, on some sort of active trip, hiking. When my husband and I go to Montana, we do a lot of hiking. And these techniques are clutch for keeping me feeling good, being able to stay active, all of that. And so I actually sometimes use a pool noodle instead of my soft body foam roller because I just like what it does and how it feels. So if you have one, grab it. If you don't, if you do have a foam roller but you don't have the melt soft body roller, you can use that. But just keep in mind that the techniques that I'm teaching today are ideal for using a pool noodle. And so you can go through it using whatever roller you've got, but then later find yourself a pool noodle and try it. But the inspiration for teaching this with the pool noodle is, like I was saying earlier, not everybody can afford a foam roller right now or a melt soft body roller. And if all you have is a foam roller and you do these techniques with the foam roller, you're not going to get the same effect as using a soft tool. And pool noodles are pretty soft, so they work quite well in place of a foam roller. So if you have a pool noodle and you have a foam roller, choose the pool noodle over the foam roller, because a soft tool is going to have a much better effect than a firm tool. Okay, so trust me in that. Just give it a try and you'll see. I have also discovered that racquetballs work quite well for body work. They're fairly soft, and I like how those feel. So better than a lacrosse ball. Lacrosse ball is just a little too firm. So keep that in mind as well. And let's get going. So we're going to go ahead and start with doing some techniques for our hands and our shoulders and our neck. So I'm going to put my ball down on the ground for a minute so that we can just assess where things are at the moment. Okay, so we're going to start with just bringing our hands together and then drop our hands back. We're going to press in and then turn the hands under. And then we're just going to take note of what you felt there. Did you feel any stiffness in your wrists, any pain? Okay, and then we're going to turn our head. Notice what we feel there. You might notice some cracking, snapping, popping. You might notice some pain. Just take note of it. We're going to see what changes with doing these techniques. So we're going to use this soft ball, and we're just going to take the ball and move it back and forth from right below our thumb to right below our little finger.
Nicole?
Yeah.
You keep freezing for some reason, and you don't usually do that.
Huh. I'm freezing. Let's see. Let me see if I can check and see if I'm on the Wi-Fi. Give me a second here. I'm not on the Wi-Fi, so that might be why. Let me pop onto Wi-Fi. Hopefully it will go on. So just keep moving the ball back and forth between your hands here, and then we're just going to do some little circles. See. Okay, yeah, let's share the password. So you're going to do little circles in the muscles below the thumb. So do little circles in the muscles below the thumb, little circles in the muscles below the little finger. Having tech problems. You still there?
Yeah.
Did I go away while I was trying to figure that out?
You went. I lost the picture, but I can see you now.
Okay. I don't know why, but for some reason my iPad is not jumping on the Wi-Fi, and that would be the best way for it to have the best connection. And
yeah.
I don't know.
And I now lost you again. I can just see your name.
Okay, you can hear me though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out, the reason you lost me is because I went to a different screen because my iPad's not going on my Wi-Fi. Yeah, I don't know why.
You're back again.
Curses. Yeah, I can't fix it right now. There's a problem with my iPad getting on the Wi-Fi. It's going to be the best.
Well, I'm used to you, so don't worry about me. I can just follow your voice. It doesn't even matter.
All right. If you need to, you can hop on Facebook, because the feed for Facebook is like really good.
Okay.
So if it's real spotty there, I'm live on Facebook right now, and it'll be. I'm connected to Wi-Fi on my phone, so that'll work. Sorry about that. Okay, so where were we? We're doing circles. Circles here, circles here.
Circles. Okay, we're gonna on both hands.
Yeah, we're gonna do circles on both hands. And the idea here is we're fluffing and buffing the fascia. We're fluffing and buffing that flat fascia below the thumb and below the little finger to stimulate glycosaminoglycans and fibroblasts to pull fluid into that tissue so that it can slide and glide better. We're going to fluff and buff all around our thumb. That thumb really could use some extra love. We're going to be gentle with it though. Don't dig on it. It should literally just feel like pressure, not pain. It should feel good. Okay. So we're just going to do some circles around the web space here of your hand and a little up and down side to side on here. So doing techniques, myofascial techniques to your hands and your feet is very good for relieving stress. One of the things that I talked about in encouraging people to join for this class is that we all experience stress and we need ways to de-stress. And doing these techniques with soft tools is a great way to decrease your stress and also to help your body let go of accumulated tension. And accumulated tension only builds to more stress. So let's next take our ball and we're just going to slide it down our finger. So you're going up the front of one hand and you're going along the fingers of the other hand. It's very calming. It feels really good. And then we're going to switch. And it should just feel good. It shouldn't feel like pain. So if it's painful, back off on your pressure. This is a great thing to do right before lunch because we're going to get our body over into the parasympathetic side of the nervous system. It's great to do right before dinner. We're going to shift our nervous system away from fight or flight and toward the parasympathetic rest digest side. And you'll be hungry and you'll digest your food better. Okay, let's do some circles all around our forearm, okay? So you're just going to do circles all around the forearm. And the thing I love about this is you're also getting self-myofascial release to your hand by doing this. And if you're using a firm ball, be gentle. Don't use a lot of pressure. It literally should feel like pressure, not pain. Don't dig in there. If you're pushing to the point where you're feeling pain, then that kicks up the fight or flight side of the nervous system, which is actually overall going to increase tension. And what we're going for is a effect of decreasing your tension overall. If we can shift your body into parasympathetic, more of your tension is going to let go just by virtue of shifting into parasympathetic. All right, we're going above the elbow now, up onto the arm, doing some circles here. Okay, and then let's do some circles in the bicep. So that's the front of your arm. We're going to work our way all the way up to the very front of the arm. There's a lot of nerves right in here in the front of your arm. There's a little bundle here that if the fascia is really tight, it kicks off. It's like alarm bells in that area, and it just kind of makes it touchy. And so it's really easy for it to get sore and kind of give you a pain signal. But if we can keep this area freed up with cupping, with self-myofascial release, like what we're doing right now, then it's going to be less touchy and less prone to giving you a pain signal. Okay, now we're working our way down onto our chest. So we're going to go up and down right across the muscles of the chest. We're going across the fibers. The fibers of your chest muscles, your pectoralis muscles run this way, the big ones. And then you have your pec minor that runs like this. Okay, so we're going across pec minor now by doing it this way. We're going with the fibers of your chest muscles. Okay, we can target pec minor by putting our forefingers below the collarbone. Put the ball right below your little finger. We're going to go up and down, side to side here. And what I love about teaching these classes, it keeps me all tuned up for my activities that I love to do. So when I go surfing, I can feel good. All right, and then pause, go ahead and have the ball pressing into that pectoralis muscle, and we're going to move your arm around to shear that muscle to basically we're tacking down the tissue with some pressure and tugging on it. And that will, again, what that does is it pulls fluid into that tissue matrix to help it be more mobile. Okay, we're going to switch arms. So we're going to go ahead and do circles all over the forearm of our other arm. Just exploring that area. Keep it pain-free. So just light pressure. And what you'll find is that it actually, doing all these techniques actually helps free up your neck. I can already feel my neck releasing. I'm pretty in tune with my body. You might not really notice these things as they're happening, but later as you go throughout the day, you might notice, oh wow, normally my feet hurt at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and they don't hurt right now, you know, or you might be driving somewhere and you turn your head and go, whoa, normally I have to turn my whole body and today I just turned my head. Whoa. These are the stories that I've heard people say. I've heard so many stories about this type of using soft tools to relieve stiffness and pain, and using mind-body techniques to shift us into the parasympathetic side of the nervous system, the more healing side of our nervous system, so that we can rest, get better sleep, we can decrease our anxiety response, we can digest our food better, and think more clearly. Because if you're too far over into sympathetic, or if you're in the sympathetic side of the nervous system most of the time, you're not thinking with your best brain. Your best version of your brain is not online. We want to have a good balance. So I'm working on this lower forearm on the inside here. All right, and then let's work our way up that bicep. All right, we're doing circles in the front of that bicep. Side to side, up and down. Okay, then we're going to go up and down right in that chest muscle, right across the fibers of your pectoralis major and minor. Actually, minor is going up and down. Pectoralis major. Okay, and then we're going to go across the fibers of your pectoralis minor, and we're going with the fibers of major. So we're just freeing up this fascia in the chest. So why would we want to do that? Well, sometimes we're spending time bent forward, and that's shortening these fibers, and they're staying kind of immobile. And when that happens, they get dehydrated. So it's like you've got beef jerky here, pulling your shoulders forward. So what we're doing with these techniques is we're loosening that up by bringing hydration to it, stimulating those glycosaminoglycans and fibroblasts. Go ahead and pin that ball down and move your arm around. And so it's like we're rehydrating your beef jerky, and then with some other techniques, we're going to stretch it. And we're also kind of stretching it right now by moving our arm around in different ways. So our body is built like a matrix. It's literally this web. And so if you want to stretch your pec muscles, your pectoralis muscles, we're not just going to stretch them this way or this way. We're going to stretch them all kinds of ways because they actually help us to move in multiple dimensions as well. So it's important to stretch them that way. Okay, so now let's check in. Well, actually, wait, before we check in, we're going to go ahead and just lightly move the ball all over. Nice and light all over. And there's one other thing that I like to do that is very effective for freeing up the wrist. So if you have wrist pain or problems, check this out. I'm unbuttoning my shirt here so that I can get to my wrist. You're going to need to get to the skin of your wrist. And if you don't have a ball, you can literally do it with your thumb. Just tack your thumb down. But the ball is really nice because what we're going to do is we're going to pull up on the fascia like this. And you're going to see some little wrinkles form. Okay, so you can see some little wrinkles form on the elbow side of the ball. And then quickly move your wrist away. We're going to do it in 3 spots. 3 times quickly move the wrist away, 3 spots. I'm doing 4 or 5 on this side because it's tighter. You can do extras on an area that's especially tight. My right arm's tighter, so I'm doing a few extra. Okay, then let's just lightly move the ball over it, over the area, and over your hand, again to stimulate the lymphatic system. Make sure you're getting over your fingers. Nice and light. Okay. And then we're just going to go ahead and check back in. We're going to see what we feel as we press inward, see if it got easier, less painful, okay? And then we're going to see what we feel as we turn our head, see if that got looser. Give me a wave or a thumbs up if you're noticing an improvement. Yeah, awesome. So what I'm going to do, Lisa, is I'm going to put you on mute just because of the cough. But if you have, yeah, sorry, you've got a cough. That's no fun. But if you have a question, you can unmute yourself for sure. There we go. Okay. Welcome, Julie, by the way. I'm glad you made it. All right, so now we're going to do a little bit more to free up our neck and our jaw. So there's a whole bunch of different things you can do to free up your neck and jaw. And for these, I'm actually going to teach you this without a ball. There's a whole sequence of things you can do with a ball to free up your neck and jaw. But sometimes you don't have a ball with you. Sometimes you've just got your hands, right? So let's go ahead and we're going to actually do both sides at once, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to do little circles in the back of the head. And it doesn't need, and what I like to do is I like to use my finger pads. So I kind of like do this. And I just do these circles with my finger pads. This is lovely. You don't have to have a ball. You just need to have your hands. We're using our finger pads and we're just going to do circles all around the base of the skull. So your neck is it's like an orchestra. In order to not have neck pain or jaw pain or headaches, a lot of different muscles all have to be functioning together, and fascia needs to be functioning appropriately, not too short, not too long. We're going to do these little circles below the ear now. You can feel a bone here. You're just going to work around that bone. And again, it should feel like pressure, not pain. Okay, and then we're going to work down. We're going to do one side at a time, doing some little circles right along your side of your neck. And again, you're using your finger pads, and you're just going to do light circles. We're not pushing super hard. And I'm working all along. You've got this muscle that when you turn your head like this, it's called your sternocleidooccipital mastoid. It sticks out. So this is the one we're just doing some little circles to, bringing some hydration to. We're going to come all the way down to where it attaches on the collarbone. Do some circles all around the collarbone there. We're doing one side at a time because you have very important blood flow that runs through there. So if you happen to have one that's a little bit compromised, we don't want to be doing both at once and potentially cut off blood flow. I'm not worried about that for the people in this class, in my Zoom class, but I don't know who's watching on the internet, and so for that reason we're going to do one at a time. So I switched sides, by the way. So now I'm going over onto the other side. And just again, just little circles, just circles. It's just the same concepts that we were using earlier. Okay, and we don't have to spend a lot of time. Okay, we're just doing little circles around right where that sternocleidooccipital mastoid attaches on your collarbone and your sternum. And you'll probably notice it's quite tender there. Give me a wave if you're noticing, or a thumbs up if you notice, yeah, there's some tenderness there. Yeah. So trigger points will develop there if your sternocleidooccipital mastoid is working overtime and some of the other muscles that stabilize your neck are not as active as they should be. So if you want to learn how to get those muscles more active, then come to our Total Body Reboot Level 1 class. You'll learn techniques there to help balance your neck um, stability. This class, we're just releasing the stiffness that contributes to the muscles not being able to function correctly. Okay, so now we're just going to do some circles with both hands like this. Just kind of rhythmically freeing up that fascia right along your breastbone. And another technique that I really like for freeing up the sternocleidooccipital mastoid is I'll take and pinch it between my two fingers. Just lightly, and I'm going to pinch and pull down just lightly. And I kind of turn toward that muscle. And I'm just pinching and pulling down, just gently working my way down that muscle. And you might notice an area that feels especially tender. If you notice that, then you can kind of pinch and stay on it for about 3 breaths. And if you do that, you might feel a pain moving to the back of your head. And that means that you're on a trigger point. So right now I'm on one. And so, Julie, where you're working on your right side, turn your chin towards your right side. Like turn your chin. See how I'm kind of turned down like this? There, yeah. Yeah, there you go. And I'm using my opposite hand, and that's on purpose, so that this side can be relaxed. And so I've just been holding on a trigger point with this little pinch until it softens. And another approach you can take with the trigger point is you can just press on it. Use one finger. And while by turning your head toward it like this, it shortens the muscle, so it's in a more relaxed state, and you're going to be able to get a better kind of like connection to the trigger point to release it. And so you just breathe into it and just wait, let it soften. And you might feel like referral pain around your shoulder. You might feel it up on the side of your head. That's all good. It's all good stuff. That means it's releasing. So oftentimes when we have pain on the side of our head or the back of our head, or sometimes pain up around the eye, it's actually coming from trigger points in this muscle, your sternocleidooccipital mastoid muscle. And this muscle gets overused when we have weakness in the longus colli, longus capitis muscles, and weakness in the muscles of the back of the head, and weakness in some of the muscles that stabilize the shoulder. Another thing that can cause tension in your sternocleidooccipital mastoid, I'm going to switch sides and do some pinching over here. Don't think that you have to stay with it until the pain is totally gone here or here. It'll work itself out. Like spend about the amount of time I did there and then move on. Okay. As far as other causes for trigger points in the SCOM, the sternocleidooccipital mastoid, other causes can be emotional. So sometimes if we feel like we want to say something but we can't, then we will hold tension around our neck. Or sometimes just strong emotion can be held in and around the neck. And, a strong emotion happens and we don't fully let go the tension from that moment in time, and that tension just stays there. And then as we work it out through a massage, through going to high quality physical therapy, or through doing these kinds of techniques at home on your own, then you might kind of remember when it first happened, or you might just kind of feel emotionally a little off, so to speak, or different than you did earlier before the session. And if you do, don't worry about it. It's good. It means that some deep healing is happening. And if you need to, you might not know what it's about. And if you need to know, you'll know. Don't try to search around and figure it out. It'll come to you if you need to know it. Just let it be. Emotions aren't bad. Sometimes they just come and go, and just let them do that. You can think of it as an island that you're visiting for a little bit. We'll be back onto the islands that are more fun to visit later. Okay, so I will just put pressure right on an area that feels especially tender. Take a few breaths, and then I'll move away from it. And by doing multiple areas, oftentimes that will be enough to release it. Sometimes we need some other types of techniques besides that, but you'll get a lot of change just from that. Okay, so I had quite a few trigger points in my sternocleidooccipital mastoid. So now I want to go back up, and I'm just going to do some light little circles below the ears, because I feel some tension has developed around my head. And that's because that's the next spot that needs to release now that I've released this. So your body will tell you where the next place is. So I'm going to go back to the base of the skull, because this is where my sternocleidooccipital mastoid attaches. I'm going to do some more circles here. And I just think this feels really good. Okay, and then I'm going to do some circles above my ears. And it's almost like I'm sudsing up my hair. It's kind of the same kind of thing. And you might find, ooh, I have some areas where it almost feels sticky. It almost feels like the tissue kind of almost grabs my fingers. Well, that tells you that that's an area where tension is being held. Okay, and so I'm just doing these circles. Feels so good. Only thing that would feel better is if someone was doing this for me, right? But at least you could do it for yourself, which is great. All right, so then now we're going to go ahead and do some circles at the base of the skull again to promote fluid movement. You have a lot of lymphatic vessels here, so we're just going to do these circles. And you don't have to work hard. If you find you're working hard and your hands are getting tired, back off a little bit, okay? Now let's do a little bit of, bring a little love to our jaw. We're going to do some circles right along your jawbone. Just little circles up into the eye socket a little bit. Keep it gentle. Circles right on the bottom edge of your cheekbone. Okay, and then we're going to do circles along the jawbone. You might find some ropey things in there. Okay, and if you do, then just be light. Be light over it. Don't try to mash on it. Just do light little circles. Keep it light. We're fluffing up our cheeks. We're giving ourselves a facelift. We're going to look so youthful and fresh. I've done this before work sometimes. And just take like 5 minutes and fluff up my cheeks. And then I'll come in and I'll get comments from people who are like, wow, you look so great. I'm like, wonder how I look the rest of the time. I should do this every day. Okay, so we're going to go back and forth across this was the master muscle. And then we're just going to, with your fingertips, oscillate up and down right in that master. Be gentle. Back and forth. Okay, good. And now our ears are going to want to get pulled because we just freed this stuff up. You're like, what? My ears are going to want to be pulled? Just trust me, it's going to feel good. But you got all your oils from your hair and your face on your fingertips. So just kind of like if you have a towel, wipe them off. I'm going to use the inside of my shirt. Okay. Or you could rub on the back of your pants or something. Okay, try to wipe some of that off so you can grab your ears. And we're going to pull gently and lightly down and out to the side. And this helps to free up your upper cervical area. And if your head feels like it wants to move, let it move. Just go with it. And the thing I love about if you develop tension or stress that gets held in your body, the thing I love about these techniques is you don't need to really address the why the tension or stress built up in the first place to release it. It can release just by doing the techniques. And if there's any residual emotional holding that's going on because of whatever emotional cause that caused the tension in the first place, that if it comes back, then you know how to release it again. And you can work through that, those emotions, that anxiety, that frustration, that stress, you know, um, if you need to with your friends or family or a therapist, but it does manifest in our body as tension. And it's good to have a tool that you can use to release that physical tension. And oftentimes releasing physical tension helps us as well, to move through something emotionally, because if you've got something going on emotionally, you're anxious about something or angry or frustrated about something, and you're tensing up because of that, and then you don't have a way to release that tension, that builds. And now you have frustration and anxiety and discomfort from the tension in your body, as well as the reason you had it in the first place. So it's really great to have a way to release that stress, um, in a physical way, so that you can continue to process it on the emotional, cognitive, psychological level as well. All right, let's check out our neck mobility. Whoa, mine's like so much better right now. All right, and there's one more thing that our body would probably love us for, um, tension on the side of the head. So it might be a bit stirred up right now because of all the different techniques we did to the neck. All right, so we're going to grab our hair. Oh, I'm just laughing because I have a client, who sees a hairstylist called, his name is Dusty, and he's famous in Newport Beach for being an amazing hairstylist. And she sees him as well, and she calls me Dusty's assistant. Completely tongue in cheek, because I'm always wrecking her hair. She doesn't let me touch her hair the day she has it done. The only day I'm allowed to mess with her head is the day before or 2 days before she goes to see him, because she sees it every week. So funny. Anyway, this is the Anderson hairdo. So you're just kind of like holding your hair on the side of your head, and I've got a fistful of hair, and I'm just lightly pulling. And you'll feel that pulls the tissue away from your scalp, and it feels really good. And if your arms get tired holding them up like this, you can literally just put your arms on your legs like this and just relax, and it feels awesome. You can do this on a desk as well. And it's good to do it for about like a minute or two. You could go longer if it's feeling good and you want to go longer, but it is really good for relieving tension on the side of your head. If you get headaches, this is a really good one. A lot of people don't realize, or haven't been told, or don't understand that the headache, your brain doesn't feel pain. It's not in your brain. I mean, your brain processes pain, and your brain is the one that interprets the sensations and gives you an output of pain, but there's not actually sensory receptors inside the brain that would give a message the brain would interpret for pain. All of those sensory receptors are outside. And so you can actually have an effect on that from the outside. I think sometimes when people get headaches, it feels like it's inside your skull, and so it feels almost like this powerlessness that can come over you. a feeling of like, what can I do? I can't get to it. Well, you can get to it. And all of these techniques that we just went through will help you with that. And then the other thing I want to just help you be aware of is that there's such a thing as a headache in your pelvis, meaning the headache in your head might be coming from your pelvis. So we're going there next. All right. So I didn't exactly mean for this to take on a headache theme, but um, it's not just headache, it's neck pain. And all of us at some point in our life get a headache or get neck pain. And oftentimes when we're stressed, we're more prone to that. So I think it's timely. You know, I think a lot of us are stressed and there's a lot going on. And so these are things we can do to help ourselves. I'm going to adjust this a little bit so that you guys can see my mat. And we're going to transition to doing some things on the floor. So, okay, so I'm going to scoot this back a bit so you guys can see the mat. And we're using a pool noodle because they're easy to find, especially in the summertime, and they're not expensive. So for people who are struggling financially right now, this will work for you. I'm going to take my shoes off, and we're going to do some techniques with the pool noodle. If you don't have a pool noodle but you have a foam roller, you can use that. So different diameters for the pool noodles, big diameter, small, okay? And it depends what you're using it for, which one you would use. It's kind of nice to have two different diameters. So I'm going to teach with the small diameter for this first one. So we're going to continue with this theme of releasing all of the muscle and fascia that influences stiffness in your neck, okay, and in your shoulders. Because a lot of times that's where we feel our tension when we're stressed. So go ahead and lay on your back. And we're just going to assess what we feel in our body right now. So as you lay on your back with your arms at your sides, palms up, your head is looking up at the ceiling. Give yourself permission to notice what you feel. And as we're scanning through your body from head to toe, resist the urge to judge what you feel. Suspend judgment. Your brain is going to try to interpret sensations and give them meaning, but just suspend that judgment. Just insert a little space there to question any judgments that come up. The importance of that is it's really helpful to be in the moment, noticing what you feel, in order for you to be able to let go of accumulated stress. If you're focused on trying to figure out why it's there, you can't let it go. So, we're just going to notice what we feel and notice where your body is in contact with the ground, where it's not in contact with the ground. Notice any parts of your body that feel warm right now or cool. And in an ideal situation, you would notice a space for your neck, a space for your lower back, and a space for your knees. And your hands would turn easily up toward the ceiling. There'd be a little space for your ankles. So just notice what you're feeling there. Ideally, your rib cage would be weighted to the ground. Go ahead and take a nice full breath. Hold it for 4 seconds. And then slowly let it out. And we're going to take another nice full breath, breathing in for about 4 seconds. And hold for 4. And then slowly let that air out. So 4x4 breathing. Breathing in for 4 seconds, hold for 4, and exhale for 4. Is a great way to just slow things down so that you can be present in the moment. It stretches your diaphragm, which is going to take pressure off your lower back and your neck. Go ahead and do a couple more of those 4x4 breaths. improves your heart rate variability, which is a marker of health of your heart. And 4x4 breathing is used by the U.S. Navy SEALs to keep themselves calm in stressful situations. You don't need any special equipment, and you can easily do this anywhere. We're doing it laying on the floor, but you could do it seated in a chair. You can do it while you're at work. When I find myself starting to get stressed because I'm just thinking about a lot of stuff and I get tense because I'm focused really hard, I remind myself, I check in with my breath. If I notice I'm breathing shallow or breathing fast, I slow it down. And then that helps me let go of tension right in the moment, so it's not accumulating as much. All right, so we've taken a little snapshot of where things are at in our body right now. We're going to grab our pool noodle. Or if you don't have a pool noodle, but you have a roller, foam roller of some kind, you can use that. And we're going to sit on that pool noodle so that we're angled. I'm angling towards you, and the pool noodle is under my hip, and my left hand is on my leg, and I'm just going to glide up and down right along the edge of my sacrum. So your sacrum is shaped like a hand. It's right here, okay? And I'm just gliding along the edge of it. And it feels really good with a pool noodle. I really like how it's a little more pinpointed than with a foam roller or a melt soft body roller. And you can pick spots. You can do this whether you're on a roller or a pool noodle. You can pick spots to just sit and take a breath and let the tissue adapt. You can let your leg kind of drop to the side to stretch it out a little bit. All right. And I like to get nice and low because really down low at that edge of that sacrum is a spot where your obturator externus is a little bit, you can get to it. And that muscle, when it gets tight, pulls the sacrum sideways and can create pain in your SI joint area, your lower back. And we have techniques to release that in the clinic, in physical therapy, different techniques to release it. But there's also ways to do it using a pool noodle, using a melt roller, or a foam roller. Okay, so we're going to glide up and down on the side of your sacrum. So first we're just exploring this tissue, your hip rotators and your glutes. It all might be sore. If there's an especially sore or ropey spot, pause on it and just breathe. Just pause and breathe. And like I said, if you don't have a pool noodle in your repertoire, I know my clients, pretty much all have like a basket of stuff. So add it to your basket of stuff, because all these little tools make a difference in improving the quality of your life, maintaining your mobility and independence. Okay, I'm letting my leg drop down, just feeling that stretch across that tissue. And I'm getting really, really low at the low down part by the bottom of the sacrum, near your tailbone. And I'm just kind of sitting there. And like I said, this particular technique works best with a pool noodle. So later, next time you're at the store, grab a pool noodle, add it to your shopping cart, and then you can always go back to this class and watch this part and try it with the pool noodle and compare, and you're going to find it gets much deeper in all those little nooks and crannies in the hip rotators to release them. So I'm just kind of gliding around on those hip rotators. Feels really good. Okay, then now I'm going to roll onto my side, and I'm going to lay all the way down onto my side. Now, if you're on a roller, don't lay on your side. Stay up like this, okay? And what we're targeting now is our gluteus medius and minimus. So if you put your hands on your hips like you have an attitude, that's your iliac crest that you're resting your hands on. And just below the iliac crest, you have your gluteus medius and minimus attached, okay? They come down and attach on your greater trochanter, and you can develop trigger points in through here that will cause pain that runs down your leg and can feel like it might be a nerve root impingement. People call it sciatica. Sometimes it's not sciatica, sometimes it's trigger points. Okay? So if you want a gentle release of it, then you lay on your side on your pool noodle and you're going to roll back and forth on that pool noodle. Feels really good. What I love about this is you don't have to spend a lot of money. Pool noodle isn't very expensive. Okay? And remember, it's that pressure on, pressure off that stimulates glycosaminoglycans and fibroblasts to release tissue so that it can slide and glide better. And then it's sustained pressure for about 3 breaths to release a trigger point. So if you're on a spot where you feel it referring, the pain is referring down into your leg or referring somewhere, then stay on that spot for a few breaths and you'll find it goes away. That referral pain goes away. Okay, so if you're on a foam roller, you can move your body up and down like this, all along that rim of that tissue. I'm coming over onto the side. Again, I'm above my greater trochanter, and I'm right on the side there. This is a common spot. Can be quite tender. So just kind of gliding up and down, pause and breathe, thinking of letting go, and allowing whatever's ready to release, just allowing it to release. All right, let's switch sides. So again, just laying down. What I love about doing it with a pool noodle is it's really helpful for people who maybe aren't quite as mobile and can't do it on a foam roller, because being on the foam roller, they have to be up on their forearm and it's harder on their neck or their shoulder. So for people who are mobility challenged or they're really fragile, this works really well. I've used this in my class side by side with other people using the roller. Make sure you're getting all the way back to the back part of that rim. There's areas of tightness in the glutes, but if you get that released, your back is going to be a lot happier. Okay, we're going to roll all the way over onto our side and get the just above the greater trochanter area. Make sure you're gliding there. So you can roll just like I am if you're on the melt roller or on a foam roller. I'm going to move my leg a little bit back and forth, the one that I'm resting on. All right. I feel like I could stay here forever, but we want to get on to doing some other things so that we're not just doing that. So we're going to put the roller right underneath your thigh. If you're on a melt roller, it's going to look like this. Okay, and or a foam roller, and if we're in the upper part of the thigh, and here we go, we're doing it on our pool noodle. Same thing, okay? Same exact thing. We're just going to glide here. So I just cut the pool noodle to be about the size of a roller. And then the other thing is for people who maybe don't have the strength to do it the way I just did, that's all right. You just lay on it and roll. And we're just going to roll back and forth here. Pause for a breath. Okay, we're going to move the roller down above your knee. And we're going to roll here. And if you are on a melt roller, put one leg in front of the other like this. Or if you're on a foam roller. Okay, so it's just above your knee. Okay, and we're going to pause here and breathe. And then let's switch sides. We're going to have the roller or the pool noodle in the upper part of the thigh. If you're on a roller, you're going to do it this way. If you are on a pool noodle, just lay on down and roll. And for some people, this is a little too intense. If it's too intense, then put a pillow underneath you and it won't be quite as intense. That'll decrease the intensity of it. Okay, and you can move it down a little bit, get a lower area, rolling back and forth. Again, if this is too intense for you, put a pillow underneath your torso. Okay, then we're going to move it down. If you are using a roller, a foam roller or a melt roller, put one leg in front of the other and roll. Okay, and if you're using a pool noodle, just stack them and roll. Okay, good. We're going to go down onto our shin, and we're just going to glide here, just moving that pool noodle up and down on the side of our shin. This will help your knee. Natural pain relief for the knee. Pause for breath, let that tissue adapt. I forgot to do it on this side. So we'll switch sides. So it's going to be below the knee. Again, kind of moving like a fish or a mermaid. Okay, and you can do the same thing on your roller. So Julie, go ahead and rest your head on your hand. Your outstretched, yeah, like me. There you go. If you find that you're working hard to melt, or if you're working hard to self-myofascial release, you're working too hard. Okay, we're going to roll here. Pause for breath. Just let that tissue adapt. Just taking a nice, easy breath, allowing any tension that's developed to release. Good. Next, we're going to take our pool noodle. We're going to put it underneath our lats because tightness in the lats is a common culprit that leads to shoulder pain, neck pain, and back pain. Okay, so it's going right. Find your armpit. It's going just below the armpit on the rib cage. We're going to glide back and forth here. If you have brittle bones, though, do it this way. Okay, so if you're at risk with brittle bones, this is the way you should do it. And you can just kind of rock here or just breathe. But if you're fairly robust, then it's okay to do it this way. And going across the your latissimus dorsi muscle is really good for freeing it up. Try resting your head on your outstretched arm, Julie. Yeah, there you go. Yep. If that's too intense, too hard on your neck or on some other part, you can put a pillow between your head and your shoulder. Pause for breath. We're going to stretch out, just kind of taking a moment to just take a nice full breath here. And then we're going to switch sides. So rolling. Or if you have brittle bones, make sure you keep your arm in so that all of that force isn't on your rib cage. When you have brittle bones, it's amazing how easy it is to snap a bone. Really doesn't take much pressure at all. And you're going to get plenty of pressure. This way you'll feel the release. But if you're really robust, you could probably tolerate more pressure. This can be quite painful here. Usually I teach techniques that are not painful, but this could be painful. You're in charge of how much pressure you take with this, and so if it's too intense with your arm up, then just bring your arm in. Let's stretch out. We'll take 3 breaths here. And just think of lengthening through your upper body. Nice. All right. We're almost done. We're going to put the pool noodle behind our back. And we're just going to do a little bit of movement up and down, keeping your hips just barely off the floor, keeping your elbows in, get the shoulder blades out of the way. You can go all the way up by your neck. This feels really good with a pool noodle. And you can rest your hips on the ground and just take a nice full breath and let your head soften back into your hands. And actually let your head rest on the ground if you're using a pool noodle. If you're using a melt roller or any kind of roller, don't do that. Okay? And then we're going to go to a little bit lower spot. So for a small person like me, this little tiny roller, this little tiny pool noodle is fine. But if you're a bigger person, you need a thicker pool noodle. Okay, and again, we're just going to stop here in one spot. Take a nice easy breath. Soften into it. This time I'm not extending my head back because I don't want to hyperextend my spine. Okay, and I'm just working my way along that rib cage, only where there's ribs. That's the only place where you're going to do this. Tap your hips down, take a nice easy breath. You're just thinking of your spine going to neutral. You're not thinking of it going into full extension like this, although you might be tempted to do that, but it can be too much extension for the spine. All right, we're going to go ahead and put our hips on the little pool noodle here. And bring your knees back towards your chest. And we're just going to let them stretch out. Let your hands rest outward like this. And then if you can, bring your hands back behind you. Okay, so it's like they're making goalposts. And this is going to stretch out your chest. Open up the front of your shoulders. And your knees are just coming back towards you in a nice comfortable spot. So you feel a stretch on the inner thighs, a little bit of a stretch in your back. We're going to take a couple of easy breaths here, just thinking of allowing whatever's ready to soften, allowing it to soften. Just letting go of any tension that's ready to let go. You can tell yourself, I let go. And let's stretch one leg out and then just roll toward that leg. And you'll feel a strong stretch in your adductor here, and you'll feel the pressure of the pool noodle or the roller against your hip. And just breathe and just think of letting go. Let go all the way through the shoulders and neck. Bend your leg and come in and stretch out the other leg. And just breathe. Think of letting go. Feel that opening all the way through your shoulders, your neck, your hips, lower back. Okay, we're going to come back to the middle. Another nice full breath. You can do a little movement here, just straight, a little bit of marching up and down like this. Keep it small. Another nice full breath. Put your feet down. We're going to stretch our legs out and we're going to lay flat again and notice what we feel. So now as I rest here, I'm noticing that I feel much more connected to the ground. I feel just a sense of ease as I'm laying here. And I'm also noticing a lift in my lower back. Give me a wave if you're noticing you've got a lift in your lower back. Just a little lift. So if you notice that, that's good. It means that we've freed up enough fascia so that your spine is better supported by your muscles and your soft tissue. I also am noticing better contact with my rib cage on the floor, and I'm noticing I'm just more aware of my thighs and my calves in contact with the ground. Uh, it's easier for my palms to turn upward. It just means that my body's open like a flower. It's a lot of the tension has released. So that concludes our class for today. Well done making it a priority to do something about your health, to release some of the stiffness and tension that develops just from everyday life. And for many of us right now, there's more than the usual amount of tension and stress. And so it's even more important that we're taking good care of our bodies, especially with a virus out there. We want to be taking care of our bodies as much as we can to mitigate the effects of stress. And of course, getting plenty of water, eating a nutritionist, eating a well balanced diet, getting lots of vegetables, especially getting some greens in your diet on a regular basis. If you are allowed to, some people can't have greens because of medication they're on, but if you can, then an easy way to add more greens into your diet, and because greens are so good with binding with toxins and getting them out of your system. And one of the best things you could do to improve your health is eat more greens. So just buy those big tubs of baby lettuce that's already washed. So you don't even have to deal with washing your lettuce, right? You just grab a handful of it, plop it on a plate, put some salad dressing on there that you made yourself, or if you must have the pre-made salad dressing, there's some healthier options out there that don't have a ton of additives, uh, and just dip your fork in the dressing, and so you just get a little flavor of it on each bite. So you're not getting too many of the wrong kinds of calories. But I love to make just a vinaigrette with olive oil and little balsamic vinegar or lime juice or lemon juice. So those are some good options. But just adding 2 salads a day to your diet. So lunch and dinner, handful, plop, eat, easy. It doesn't have to be more fancy than that. It will make a big difference in your health. Just try it for a week and you'll see. So just adding that will move the needle. Okay. So glad that you could join for this class. There's going to be another one with the pool noodle. So if you were on this class and you didn't have a pool noodle and you wish you did, next time you're at the grocery store, grab one of those. And we're going to do another one this Saturday at noon. So you're not going to want to miss that. We're going to cover some other things with the pool noodle that you can do. It's just so helpful because sometimes, when we're all traveling again, sometimes you want something to release the stiffness from traveling. And a pool noodle is a great way, and it doesn't take up a lot of space. So thanks for joining. Tell your friends. I'm going to leave this up for people to watch and learn from, because I know there's so many people out there that need to decrease their stiffness. They haven't been able to get to the massage therapist, or they haven't been able to get to the gym, or they've just been more stressed out than usual these last few months, and they need some way to relieve it. And so this is a good way. Especially remember the 4x4 breathing. You can do that anywhere and you don't need any equipment. So just start incorporating that into your day on a regular basis. You can do it multiple times a day. All right. Thanks for watching. I'm going to wrap up with my Zoom class, my Zoom crew. They motivate me to show up for class every time, and I love seeing the progress that they're making and their consistency in showing up. And I love to just hear their aha moments and their takeaways, and love to be a part of this little community that we've formed to encourage each other to keep moving forward in health. If that sounds like something that you are interested in joining, then you can go to the website, my website, andersonswpt.com, and you can join our Zoom classes so you can have some community around you as you make progress towards your health goals. All right, thanks for joining. We'll see you all later on social media. Check out our class. You have to join on Zoom, but there's a Pilates/roller class that's going to be happening on Wednesdays at 4:30. You're going to want to check that out if it sounds intriguing to you. All right, so take care. See See you guys later.